I get to something like $100 trillion within 10 years, which is not, would be in line with other asset classes. And even if I'm wrong by 50%.
And in 2024, Ripple, you launched RLUSD. It's already achieved a market cap of well over $300 million. What makes it different from what's already in the market?
I love the idea of innovation. The money center banks have been sitting on their hands for years, crapping on the crypto industry, but it's not about Bitcoin.
I don't know if there's as much FOMO now, it's so established, but like that's why I'm an XRP. Like that it's FOMO. It's not like I have some brand.
The bullish outlook is bolstered by XRP trading above its 200-day moving average and high trading volume, signaling strong trader confidence. Market sentiment remains positive due to Ripple's legal victories against the SEC and optimism.
He always said a year ago, he was saying, hey, Bitcoin's funny money, crypto's funny money. The other day he goes, Eric, where do I buy this?
They try to shake me out, but I was born ready. Dropping down the price, then I be getting plenty. They want all your bags and they want all of them empty.
If you got a baggie, welcome to the party. Welcome back to some more Moon O'Clock News. No breakfast, no coffee, just straight extra. Bullishness. Shout out to the ladies. So appreciate you stopping by, tuning in. Don't forget to drop an elbow from the top ropes on that likey button. We got XRP right around $2.38. We got some breaking news from James K. Filon. Judge Torres has denied the party's motion for an indicative ruling. If jurisdiction were restored to this court, the court would deny the party's motion as procedurally improper. Freddie responds and says that the meaning here is the parties didn't request relief under the right rule of civil procedure, so they will refile under it the correct rule. But me reading between the lines is that Ripple and the SEC need to get on all fours and beg for relief. Meanwhile, we got one from Ripple, excited to launch our latest Ripple Impact collaboration with MC Social Venture as part of our Unlocking Opportunity initiative in partnership with the WEIA. The pilot leverages the XRP ledger to test how blockchain's traceability could boost incomes for 300 smallholder farmers in Colombia, where most operate informally and lack of credit history and transactional ledgers needed to secure loans to expand their operations. MC Social Venture, XRP, Ripple. Meanwhile, watch your guru Justin, the UAE US Artificial Intelligence Cluster presentation.
Maybe you can put that hand on get us started. Right? There we go.
Welcome to the new epicenter of innovation, where American ingenuity meets Emirati vision and abundant energy fuels progress. Here, pioneering AI on the cutting edge of technological discovery takes us into the future.
Subject views, problem reaction, stablecoin legislation.
Finally, the dollar weakened. And this is important because the dollar typically strengthens in risk-off events. Dollar weakness was suggestive of foreign capital outflows from the United States. Recent data from Japan indicates Japanese private and official holdings of treasuries declined by about $20 billion in early April. Developments such as the sharp appreciation of the Taiwan dollar is also notable. These data suggest that Asian investors are rethinking their unhedged dollar exposures and perhaps dollar asset allocations more broadly, and imply upward pressure on yields in U.S. fixed income markets will continue. Thus, the increase in Treasury market volatility on the one hand reflected investor surprise to tariffs. On the other, these developments also reflect decades of economic policy undertaken with minimal consideration about their longer-run impact. These policies were enabled by trends such as disinflation from globalization, labor force growth, and low yields due to unconventional monetary policy. Trends that have been extrapolated that they will continue forever. However, these forces are now in retreat, even as we face the problem that U.S. government debt has simply grown too large. History suggests that high government debt is often solved through inflation diminishing debt in real terms, but also eroding the currency's purchasing power. Movements in gold against the dollar over the last 2 years are close to meeting the IMF staff's definition of a currency crisis. Treasury market fragility and erosion of the U.S. dollar's status are interlinked.
We got Riz XRP, Robinhood, and Raw Paul, 100 trillion market, the echo chamber, flip of the switch, XRP.
Yeah, I mean, when I extrapolate trend rate of growth out of crypto, I get to something like $100 trillion within 10 years. Which is not, would be in line with other asset classes. And even if I'm wrong by 50%, if it is 100 trillion, we're only 3% of the journey. But even if I'm wrong, it's still going to be the largest, fastest wealth generation event in all history. I think people aren't understanding how much capital is going to get formed in this and the uses of that capital, and how it completely changes the game, as you talked about, of access to capital.
Yeah. Well, my prediction, this might be a little bit of a hot take because it's aggressive, but I think that technically what you're saying could happen, but I don't think it's going to be native crypto assets like we have them today. I think at some point we're going to flip a switch, and the securities markets will all be powered by crypto technology.
For sure.
It'll be almost like how technology as a sector has become
the
largest sector.
But because of the behavioral incentives of the protocol and how they use tokens, it's going to accrue to those tokens. So it's like, using AWS accrues to Amazon, but using Ethereum accrues to Ethereum token holders. So that's where the wealth generation comes. You can build the whole financial system on it, and we will for sure. That was I wrote the first ever strategy piece on crypto back in 2013, and this was my base case, is the entire financial system has to go on it. And I think that's true, but that increase in token value is a big deal.
Yeah, and you're saying that that'll increase, that'll accrue to the platform layer, the blockchain layer itself.
Yeah, it'll accrue to various layers because you have the applications layer and the infrastructure layer, essentially. It's just technology.
Subject views, Ripple SVP of stablecoin just said we're talking to some interesting sovereign wealth funds, RLUSD, XRP.
We're coming to you live from Consensus 2025 by CoinDesk in Toronto. Joining me for this segment, we have Jack McDonald, Senior Vice President of Stablecoins at Ripple. We're here to discuss safety, trust, and reliability behind stablecoins. It is great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
And in 2024, Ripple, you launched RLUSD. It's already achieved a market cap of well over $300 million. What makes it different from what's already in the market?
It's a good question. I get asked often as we were launching this, and I think the origin story really has to do with our history in cross-border payments, where Ripple's been doing this for 14 years. We've been a top minter of USDC, so we've seen the use case. Specifically, what's different about us, and stablecoins, I think of them in different categories. There's either the US dollar backed or non-US dollar backed. 95+% of demand is for US dollar backed. Some are regulated, some are not. We've focused exclusively on the regulated, built for enterprise, dollar-backed, held as a fiduciary sort of stablecoin. And so that takes us on a certain journey, focusing on the institutional customers that Ripple's been servicing and doing it in a regulatory compliant way. And so we have a number of use cases that we're going after, but we're doing it from that foundation, if you will, making a bet that the past really is not our future, i.e. 0 to 240 billion has been led by some large issuers that are not regulated in the same way we are. We think that institutions are going to drive that next leg of demand that are going to really want the sort of foundation that Ripple represents.
Check out the full 6-minute interview over on Subject Views. We got Vivek for real. Billionaire Kevin O'Leary just said Bitcoin is about to explode with trillions of dollars. Coming soon. It's happening.
I love the idea of innovation. The money center banks have been sitting on their hands for years, crapping on the crypto industry, but it's not about Bitcoin. Nothing to do with Bitcoin. It's digital payment systems. That's the potential. That's the amazing opportunity we have here. Now, the reason that will be important and why we'll get price appreciation on Bitcoin is the minute that happens, it will signal the move to the next act, the Market Infrastructure Act. And why that matters to everybody in this room is we will finally determine, is Bitcoin a commodity or a security? And when that is determined and regulated, Katie bar the doors, $1 trillion will come and index that asset. Let's all hope that happens while we're all alive here. Anyways, thank you.
Bitcoin was just a smokescreen for the real utility assets with utility like XRP, hidden in plain sight. CoinDesk, why does Stool president own XRP? FOMO. It's not like I have some grand belief in it. It's what, $2.40? What if it's the next Bitcoin?
I remember I was trying to buy an apartment. I was trying to buy an apartment in Miami, and I got outbid by Crypto Bro. And I'm just like, that bastard. Yeah, he just bought, he heard about Bitcoin when it was, I don't know, $8, $7. It's up on 100. I've slaved for 20 years, and he just outbid. So yes, there's 100% of FOMO on everything. I think that's the meme coin. That's general. I mean, I don't know Bitcoin. I don't know if there's as much FOMO now. It's so established, but like that's why I'm in XRP. Like that it's FOMO. It's not like I have some grand belief in it, but it's what, $2.40 or something like that. It's like, what if that's the next Bitcoin? So FOMO, I think, plays a huge part.
Watch your guru, Justin. Eric Trump says it's a race to the top to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible and as much XRP as possible.
I hear it from the biggest companies. I mean, the adoption of it is incredible. I told the story I was at MENA in Abu Dhabi, and I told the story right before I got there. A good buddy of mine runs one of the biggest banks in America. You can probably guess which one it is. They run a very, very large office for that bank in the wealthiest suburb of New York, right, in Greenwich, Connecticut. And he always said, a year ago, he was saying, hey, Bitcoin's funny money. Crypto's funny money. The other day, he goes, Eric, where do I buy this incredible kind of, cryptocurrency? Where do I buy Bitcoin? How do I get into this world? And so every single day, guys, I'm telling you, people who were kind of staunchly against it, people who didn't understand it, people who were closed-minded, people who were kind of rhinos to traditional finance are coming around in a massive way. And I think the kind of spike in Bitcoin is going to be significant. And therefore, it really is kind of a race to the top right now. There's a lot of people who are running very, very hard at this mission. And I promise you, we're going to beat them in that marathon.
Watch out for scammers, hackers. John Deaton to every person who has an account, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Uphold, or any other exchange. The hackers are very sophisticated. You may get an email from Coinbase support or Uphold support, but it really isn't from them. I've had these emails sent to me and they look official. Don't click on the link and never input your password. They attempt to create a sense of urgency by making you think you'll lose your assets if you don't respond to the email. Stay safe. They want them baggies back by any means necessary. Bags packed. Locked and loaded. CoinDesk XRP price could surge after a bearish pattern failed, according to CoinDesk. Research setting up that next face melting pump.
Let's take a look at the chart of the day. For XRP prices could surge to $3.40 after a bearish head and shoulders pattern failed, with CoinDesk Research's AI-assisted analysis predicting a rise to $2.85 by June 1st, driven by a breakout above the $2.40 resistance level. The bullish outlook is bolstered by XRP trading above its 200-day moving average and high trading volume, signaling strong trader confidence. Market sentiment remains positive due to Ripple's legal victories against the SEC and optimism surrounding the crypto-friendly policies of the Trump administration.
Mustache, altcoins. Imagine we only do part of what happened in 2017. And the longer they take, the higher we keep climbing on that XRP. Richless, and only takes a small piece of the prize to take us to the promised land. For XRP, that's one pool of liquidity. Where will those bags be when that regulation jar of molasses finally breaks open and XRP's true price is finally revealed? We'll catch you up here on the mothership. I am the XRP bagman, the moon commander. BYOB, bring your own bags, be your own bank, be your own boss. And don't forget to drop an elbow from the top ropes on that likey button. We'll see you at the tippy top. Later, glitches.
Hey, told you missed it. Them riches jump off that ghost train. Totally good. Now we blasting up off this third plane. Took the cheats and the codes and now we all run the game. Spit be splitting them split ups. Deep state they getting drained. Jump in the pool of all these games. Jumping, we shooting in slow motion like we Max Payne. We flipping, getting digits. 589K, we in this. Yeah, we wealthy, filthy, rich in this bitch. And these hoes don't know it. You didn't notice that we ghosting this hoe. They built the tune it. You need a tune up, hoping that they freaking hear it. Then you tune it. Ayy, 4-3 to earth, and we moving like we the frequency. Bagging these bags, and now we living not so equally. Adam and Eve, they GMO the apples. Batman back in this 4-3-2 and all the samples. Jump on that saddle, we waking up all the